What's up, guys? Welcome to another live stream. We are live streaming the podcast here. As you guys can see, I'm in a brand new room here. We moved one of our offices up into our main area, which is really cool. But we are going to begin this podcast episode in 3, 2, and 1. Let me ask you this. Have you struggled with fat loss and don't know how to break through with it? Well, I think I got the episode here for you. Now, the reason why I'm actually bringing up this topic is because in January, when people get started on their fitness journey, 80% of people will fail by February 1st. And what I'm actually going to be doing today is I'm going to be talking about why you struggle with fat loss, the mistakes that you make behind it, and how to break through it so you can see progress. The goal here is not to stop with momentum. The goal here is for you not to gain results. The goal for you is to take radical action on exactly what you need to do to see incredible results with body fat loss. Can we all agree on that? So we're going to be breaking things down from here. So I'm going to give you guys, 5 reasons why a lot of you are probably struggling with fat loss, and then what you can exactly do for each reason to really, really break through for it. So reason number 1, I think is the most obvious one, but we need to talk about in detail, is diet. You can't stay consistent on your nutrition plan. There's a lot of people when it comes down to nutrition, like you got to take a look at this, right? When you're losing body fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. And if you can't maintain that calorie deficit, you're not going to see results. And I usually see like two different people with this. On one side, we got people that do sustainable fat loss. On the other end, it's more extreme dieting. So sustainable fat loss is, as people call on social media, you lose body fat at a slower rate, maybe half a pound a week sometimes. You are eating, drastically more food, working out less. It's more manageable that way. But the problem that I see with that when you're doing it on the nutrition side of things, you don't get results fast enough. And for a lot of you, it can be extremely demotivating. Right? It's like, man, this is sustainable, but like you're not getting results quick enough to get yourself bought into the process. On the other end, you got something called extreme dieting. Now with extreme dieting, that's where your calories are either way too low. I'm talking about like that 1,200 calorie range, 1,000 calorie range. Your goal is to drop as much body fat as possible. Maybe you do like a fad diet like keto. Maybe you try to do a detox, carnivore, intermittent fasting, anything to get you results quickly, right? Maybe a Herbalife. I think that's still around, right? So a lot of you guys are trying to lose fat as quickly as possible. And it's so extreme that you're not seeing results because you can't stay consistent on it. You're starving your body so much out of energy and how your body feels that eventually you cheat on your diet. Eventually you fall off track. That's what a lot of people do in the new year. Like, I want to start this brand new routine. And then you make all these radical changes, and that's not going to get you results. So where we actually want you to be is we want you to be in the middle ground, right? I call it rapid fat loss. It's one of the systems that I teach in my program. It's the rapid fat loss system. And it's like in the middle of sustainable, it's in the middle of extreme dieting. And what you want to do, you want to take the best of both worlds. You want to be in an aggressive fat loss phase in a calorie deficit that is hard enough where you're seeing really good results, but it's not on the extreme side, and it's quick enough where you're being motivated because you're seeing changes on the scale, changes on the body, which is higher than the sustainable side. So I definitely really believe, in my experience, the middle ground is where it's at. So that's number 1, is you haven't picked the nutrition plan that's extremely sustainable. Number 2, your training program just sucks. That's just plain and simple. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times when people are trying to find a program that fits in their schedule, you either do too much, you're at the gym 6 or 7 days of the week, and it's not going to work with your busy schedule, right? There's a lot of stress. You got a lot of stuff going on. You can't be at the gym 6 or 7 days a week or even 5 days a week, right? And secondly, you're doing the wrong stuff. You're prioritizing, probably cardio. The stepper is a big one. The elliptical is a really, really big one. Group classes, and your goal needs to take away from those cardio machines, and you need to be doing strength training, especially for you women out there. Now, the reason why I want to do that, it's going to build more lean muscle tissue. It's going to help produce a, burning effect in the body. Plus, like, the right type of training is going to emphasize the calorie deficit and help build lean muscle tissue in your body. So I really recommend to people, you only need to work out 3 to 4 times a week. The majority of our clients work out 3 to 4 times a week, and they lose a shit ton of body fat that way. So that's like the top 2 mistakes right there. But we got 3 more on why you're failing at fat loss and exactly what to do in order to break through. So number 3 is like, you haven't set actual action steps, step by step, on exactly like what you can do to like hit your goal. A lot of times it's like, I want to lose 10 pounds, but when do you want to lose it by? How are you going to accomplish that? What's a detailed plan? Like, the reality is, you put on this weight for a reason. You can't just say you're going to lose weight and expect to lose weight, right? So in order to change it, you need to make goals, but on top of that, you need to go through an identity change. You need to adopt the lifestyle of someone who's lost that 10, 20, or 30 pounds of body fat. You need to make those changes for yourself. And that's how you're going to like really, really, really get results, right? That's a huge big one. Number 4, you don't do your research properly. A lot of times people want to lose weight. They just go to the gym. They look at YouTube. They Google stuff. At the end of the day, fat loss is a science. And like, regardless if you want to do it on your own or if you want to hire a coach like myself, you need to do your research and really understand the right way to do this. And a lot of times, and I'm telling you this from experience, right? I've been doing this for a long time. You get people walk in the gym. They're like, well, what are you doing? I'm cutting out carbs. I'm not training legs. The simple truth is, you do not know what you're doing, and you need to do your due diligence, and you need to do your research. It's like going for anything else. It's like going to school. They got degrees on this stuff for a reason, right? So you got to get yourself educated on exactly what you need to be doing in order to lose body fat. Number 5, and this is by far the most important one at all. Look at your inner circle. Look at the top 5 people that you spend the most time with. Are any of them into fitness? Are any of them in shape? Because if they are not, you are setting yourself up for failure. Right there, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? Because you're not surrounded by people who are doing exactly what you're trying to do to accomplish your goal. You need to surround yourself by more people who are doing the same thing as you. Now, the reason why I bring that, right, it's like, you're already busy. You're already stressed out. You already got so much of this shit going on. What happens on a Friday night? You're having dinner. They put a piece of dessert in front of you, and they'll say this one thing. Don't worry, Bob. This is just this one time. One time you can have the dessert, you can get back on track tomorrow. Then all of a sudden it's drinks. Then all of a sudden it's the weekend. Then all of a sudden it's girls' night. Then all of a sudden you're that guy or girl at the birthday party who's not eating all the food because you are on your diet and they are forcing you to eat, and then you shame yourself when you go home. That is what happens when you don't surround yourself by the right people. So you need to do a couple of things. Get yourself in the right community. It can be locally at a gym. You can join one of my private free communities that I have on Facebook or on Instagram. But if you don't have access to like the right people, I think like the biggest thing that you can use is you can use social media. What I would do is I would go on your phone. I would unfollow all the things that are distracting you, those food channels, the news outlet, right? Anything like that, and start following people like myself where they're giving you credible information, right? Follow people that you can be surrounded by the right community. Follow people that you can be surrounded by the right knowledge. When I scroll through social media, all I'm watching is like business, mindset, fitness, information that I can absorb. Even though like TikTok and Reels are within like a 30 to 60 second window, if you do this right, you can absorb a shit ton of information that way by following the right people, saving the right videos, getting educated, and influence yourself. I do this every morning with my morning routine, right? I don't got a lot of people in my area that are into the same stuff that I do, or I don't see them enough. So what I do every single morning as I'm doing my mobility team, the first thing I have on is like a motivational success video. Because again, you want to implant a certain way of thinking. And you can do that with your social media platform if you don't have access to the right environment. So guys, that is the top 5 things on why you're not losing fat loss and how to break through with them. Like, use this information. If you're serious about your goals, take it seriously, and message me. We got value. Thanks, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode, and I hope you guys got a ton of value. If you liked the podcast episode, all I ask is that you subscribe. It helps support the podcast. Share it to a friend who needs it. And yeah, we'll take care and we'll chat.